Hello everyone, today we'll be talking about pure virtual function and abstract classes. Both are part and parcel of each other, so you're not really learning two completely new concepts. You're kind of learning something that's part of the same thing. So before we start with pure virtual function, we'll just look at regular virtual functions. Note that enemy class has an attack, so does the monster class, and the alien class also has an attack. So we'll code in the enemy class, cout, I am the enemy class, end line. We'll run this program and it says monster attack and alien attack, so it runs as we would expect it to. So if we made an object from the enemy class and tried to use that attack function, it would go to the enemy class and call this attack function. But as it was virtual, it needs to check what it's pointing to, and if the derived class overrides this attack function, then it would use that one. Although this attack function that says I am the enemy class was inherited, it was overwritten in this derived class. One says monster attack and one is alien attack. As we're using polymorphism with virtual functions, that virtual function checked and saw that we were overriding it and used more specific functions. So let's now look at pure virtual function. If we cut the attack action from the monster class, it's already inheriting an attack function from the enemy class. So if it doesn't use its own attack function, it inherits the default general I am the enemy. So when we run that, we get that monster attack had its own specific attack function, but the alien attack didn't. So that's why the monster attack inherited the more general enemy class one. With a virtual function, you have the option of overriding it, but it doesn't matter if you don't, because we already have a function that we inherited. A pure virtual function doesn't give you the option of inheriting from the base class. To make a pure virtual function, you don't have a body at all. Instead, you have equals 0. So the virtual function which equals 0 instead of a body is now a pure virtual function. A pure virtual function has no implementation. It doesn't have a body, which means it doesn't do anything. So any derived class that inherits from a class that has a pure virtual function needs to override the function. So in a previous example, we had the option of taking this out, and if we did take it out, it didn't matter. We'd use this attack function. However, if you run it, you'd get an error message. Whenever you make a pure virtual function, you need to override it. When you didn't overwrite it in one class, when you try to call the attack function, nothing happens. It equals 0, so that's why whenever you use pure virtual functions, you need to override it. So in a computer game, if you don't want a monster to have a specific attack, it could inherit the enemy attack, then this isn't needed. But if you want to make a game with different monsters and you want each monster to have a specific way of attacking, then you need to use a pure virtual function, and that will make sure that you overwrote it. So that's pure virtual function. But what is abstract class? Basically, an abstract class is a class with a pure virtual function in it. So when you make a pure virtual function, you don't have a body or curly braces or any implementation. It's basically a function which says that any derived class needs to override this function. A regular virtual function has the option of being overridden in the derived class. If this was a regular virtual function, we could take out the attack function or include it. But with a pure virtual function, you can't run and equals 0. You need to override this attack function and give it a code to run. So that is basically what pure virtual function and abstract functions are. So thanks once again, and until next time, take care.